Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Times with Willy B, we'll be reviewing Back to Black. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell?
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Alice back. Alice, how are we doing today?
I'm so good.
Awesome. Got you back for Back to Black.
Yes, thank you for having me again.
Of course, the latest music biopic. We're in this time where biopics in the music realm are popular and coming out.
Which I'm not mad about.
Oh, no.
I do love a good, music-esque movie.
Yeah, love getting a deep dive into the icons of music, for sure. We've gotten a lot of good ones. We've got some that are, okay. But today, we got Amy Winehouse.
We have Amy Winehouse.
And we're going to dive into it. So, directed by Sam Taylor Johnson. Didn't realize that.
Oh, no idea.
Yeah, I missed that until, shortly before we started recording this.
Yes.
But nonetheless, Sam Taylor Johnson in the director's chair. Marissa Abella playing Amy Winehouse. Jack O'Connell playing the toxic lover, Blake. Eddie Marson playing Amy's dad, Mitch. And then a shout out as well to Miss Manville, who played Nan.
Nan.
But we'll start with the good, and I think we can start with the acting.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so I remember yesterday walking out of the theater, and Rosie had pulled up, the main actress's IMDb.
Yeah.
She was in the Barbie movie.
Yes.
Crazy to me. So good. The range.
Yeah.
The emotion. I was really impressed with, as the movie went, as the movie is going on, you see Amy deteriorate.
Oh, for sure.
And for her to be able to act so eloquently as someone who is dealing with addiction was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job. This being her first major role.
Yeah.
You said she was in Barbie, but I couldn't even tell you which Barbie she was.
Me either.
Another cool thing that was pointed out by Rosie was that she was 27. That she's 27, which many of us know. Amy Winehouse, part of the 27 club. Not a club that you love being in, but it's a very sad club, and to find somebody that kind of just, it's a cool connection.
Yeah.
It's
cool. It resonates.
And it even blows you away more the fact that she starts as 19-year-old Amy.
Yeah.
And works her way up to the end.
Yeah.
So she plays 8 years of range, going through, she's this really beautiful 19-year-old girl who's breaking onto the movie scene, or music scene, I should say. And then,
so confident.
Starts getting in a toxic relationship.
Oh my God.
And then it leads to on and off again. And the drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and then rehab. And she looks better. And all of that. And it just goes to show again the range.
Yes.
What you said. It goes back to the range.
Kudos, as toxic as Blake was in the movie, kudos to that actor for being able to make me hate him for as much as I did.
Yeah, O'Connell was really good. I honestly don't have a gripe with any of the acting. I thought Marson was really good as Mitch. I thought Nan was very well acted as well. All around, I thought they were solid performances. Nothing to complain about.
No, I agree with that. 100%.
But Abella definitely the standout.
My heart, it really makes you sympathize.
Yeah.
Because, I'm 27 right now. To live through everything, which I feel like the movie didn't really even scratch the surface to begin with of, all of the things that Amy had to go through to get to where she was by the time she was 27. To go through all of that, to have that much fame, to have those the paparazzi in the movie were freaking me out.
Yeah.
Every time she'd leave the house, anytime she tried to do anything when she got famous, it was giving Princess Diana.
Yeah, she was saying people were sleeping outside of her house in their cars.
Yes, in their cars.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, another thing, too, that this movie, you mentioned it leaving the theater, you almost forget the time period.
Yeah.
Because, the movie begins in London, and it just feels older. But this was 13 years ago that she passed away. You see Miley Cyrus in the Grammy video that they show in the movie. You see, they talk about Gordon Ramsay. When that was the first clue they gave, when they said Gordon Ramsay, I was like, oh yeah, this is like not that old.
This is more modern than what we give it credit
Yeah.
for. She is more modern than
Like-
what is given credit for.
Yeah, watching this movie, you're like, oh, we're in the 90s. And then they say Gordon Ramsay, and I was like,
Wait a minute.
was he big back then? I'm like, oh wait, this is like late 2000s right now.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy. Because you fall into this movie and you almost forget. And it's no knock on the movie. This movie is catching a lot of backlash. But most people are still praising Marissa Abella, which I'm glad that I know we both enjoyed this, and obviously we'll get into our scores later in this video, but I'm glad that she's at least getting
The praise that
call-outs.
she deserves.
Yes. Like, if you're going to completely crap on the movie and the direction all you want, so be it. I don't agree, but at least it seems most people are giving her respect.
Yes.
Because she deserves it.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, absolutely.
Continuing, there was a lot of fun scenes in this movie. Obviously, when you get a biopic, something that's usually always in the good is the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even something that this movie did that I like when biopics do, is mix in some music that's not all theirs.
Yeah.
Obviously, the soundtrack is very Amy Winehouse driven.
Yes.
But I loved the doo-wop scene. After she is about to sign with her first agency, she says, I'm no Spice Girl, I'm like Lauryn Hill, and then it breaks out into like
I'm no Spice Girl.
Yeah, it breaks out into the doo-wop scene where she's singing Doo-Wop That Thing by Lauryn Hill, and she's listening to it, and she starts walking through London, she's with friends, we get a really cool shot of them like in this like cove that has graffiti all over it.
It was incredible.
And it's just a montage that's really nice on the eyes.
And her the costume designing for this.
Yeah.
Holy wow. I forgot how fun 90s fashion used to be.
Yeah.
Like the jean skirt that she's wearing in the beginning of the movie, and it's got like the London flag, it's got the patches, there's a hole in the back of it.
That's why you also get lost in the time too, because she says it over and over again. She's a modern artist with the old school look.
Yes.
And she does. She rocks the 90s heavily, even though most of her career takes place throughout the 2000s. But yes, the costume was great. Makeup was great too, obviously, as we got into the deteriorating years. What they were able to do and make her look like.
The hair. The hair alone. The iconic Amy Winehouse, Rimmel, matte liner, the teased up giant like 50s bob in honor of Gran.
Yeah.
They did such a good job. They paid such good homage to her because Amy Winehouse was that girl.
Yeah.
Amy Winehouse owned that look. Like, I could see a kid this Halloween dressing up as Amy Winehouse and know exactly who they're trying to be just by the hair and the makeup.
For sure. Yeah, the hair and makeup department definitely killed it. I hope they get their respect where it's deserved, because again, even if you weren't the biggest fan of this movie, there were a lot of good things in this movie, in my opinion at least, and I know you feel the same. But yeah, set design too. I mean, I kind of mentioned it in that shot. We get the cool graffiti scene, but overall, just like, obviously, I don't know what the authentic look of these bars and venues she's playing in, but they were all done well enough for me to think like they looked like she was playing in a real, dive bar, or she was playing in a real venue, wherever she's at. I thought all of the set designs were done really well as well.
Yeah, it's so funny to me because in the scene where she first meets Blake and they're playing pool.
That bar.
Oh, the bar. I remember very vividly, like, back in the 2000s, my mom still being able to walk into a Chinese restaurant and smoke a cigarette where she's sitting. I could smell it.
Yeah.
You can feel the grit under your shoes. You can smell the cigarette smoke. You know there's gum underneath the table.
Yeah.
There's pool cues that are missing. The chalk is completely crumbled and just thrown away. It's so good. It feels so authentic.
Yeah.
But have I ever been to a London dive bar? No.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like I was.
And that's my point. They did a really good job, especially with the bar. And we get, a few scenes here and there with the bar. We get another bar that's just a pool bar that looked good. But overall, like, the set designs were all pretty good. No complaints there. Camera work. I liked the camera work. Cinematography was pretty good. There were a few shots, again, that the camera captured so well. One of them that stuck out to me was when she's sitting in the car window, or she's sitting in the car, and it's her looking out the window, but it's from outside the window. So on the reflection of the glass, you see all the buildings she's passing and all the buildings she's been to, and it's just a really, really good shot.
It almost, in that scene, it almost made me cry because she's going to New York and she's just like looking at all of these places where she's been, where she got her start, where her first love happened, where her life started to fall apart for her.
She's leaving Nan, who's
obviously not gonna be there when she comes back. And it's just kind of like, this is Amy saying goodbye. This was her like giving a final farewell to the home that she used to know before the downward spiral. Yeah.
It was just shot so well. That scene was probably, outside of the Lauryn Hill scene, my favorite scene. The Lauryn Hill scene, I was trying to get you guys amped up with
so
me. I was
good.
like, thankfully there was only 2 other people in the movie theater because I was jamming. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Some of the studio scenes were really cool.
Yeah.
Like the one where she's being interviewed about Back to Black.
Yeah.
And like how she came up with the song. I like how they integrated those.
Yes.
There was a few times where we got to find out the meaning behind the songs and like whether it was her on stage explaining it before she plays it or it was an interview on the radio before she plays it for the radio. They did that in cool ways.
Yeah, they did.
It was cool seeing the Grammy, like actually, you know.
Cool. Also weird seeing young Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder if she gets credited in the movie.
I wonder. Oh, I wonder. Oh my gosh.
Miley Cyrus herself.
I want Miley Cyrus to react to that because I know Miley has a soft spot for Amy.
Yeah.
So like, Miley, what are your opinions? Do you think they did a good job? You were in the movie.
Yeah. That would be interesting to know. I don't know. I tend to have a soft spot when I go into biopics anyways, especially if it's an artist I don't know a lot about. Like Amy Winehouse, I know her hits. I know some of her deeper tracks, but like, and then I knew she passed away at 27 and was dealing with addiction, but like I didn't know the full depth. I didn't know the Blake relationship. So like biopics sometimes I tend to like more because I'm being taught something I didn't know already.
Same here. Also, it makes me feel like I get to experience this artist more as a human being than as the front cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
Are there things that we will probably never know? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there things that were probably exaggerated for the sake of the plot of the movie? Probably. But
that's based on a true story to get though.
Right. But also like she's a human being.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they would have tried to make this back later, fresh after she had just passed away, she wouldn't have gotten the sympathy that I feel like the director and the writers are trying to show people.
Yeah.
That, like, she was just a young girl. She came from a good, loving family.
Yeah.
And she just ended up falling in love with the wrong person, really. That's all I think.
Yeah. I feel like the people that usually hate on biopics the most are the people that are diehard fans and are like, they left this out, they left that out, or they didn't do this right. And it's like, I don't know. That's why I tend to like the biopics that I don't know a lot about. Like, there are some that I know a lot about that blew me away, like the Queen one. I love Bohemian Rhapsody. But, like, I love The Dirt, and obviously I love all of Motley Crue's music, but I didn't know their entire story. But this was another one where, like, I didn't know a lot of it going into it.
Selena was a really big one for me.
Yeah, Selena's really good.
She was way before my time, but my mom really likes Selena. And also same thing with Queen. I grew up listening to Queen.
Yeah.
And getting to see the documentary about just Selena broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big thing. A lot of biopics usually are heartbreaking. They're not usually...
Yeah, you don't get a biopic unless something bad happened.
Yeah, I mean, like, even in The Dirt with the Vince Neil car accident, Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury, Jersey Boys, his... I don't want to say any more spoilers. I mean, this is a spoiler review, but his daughter's issues and the money, and, like, they usually always have Elvis...
Oh, gosh.
Ate himself and drugged himself to death as well, like... There's usually not a happy ending with biopics, unfortunately. So they do have that emotional pull, and when a movie can get emotional, I tend to like it more, too. I like movies that make me cry.
Me too.
Because that means I'm invested.
Yes.
I mean, the Rocky movies make me cry.
Oh my gosh.
Rocky's doing his thing. Like, oh. Mick! Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Usually if a movie can make me shed a tear, it gets a boost.
I will be honest, it's not hard to make me cry with anything, but good.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, if you're going to make a movie and try to make it emotional, you had best make sure that you make the people who cry the easiest in the crowd cry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, if a movie's not making me cry. I mean, there's movies that obviously don't make me cry that I still love, but that's because they're not. Like Back to the Future.
Right.
If I'm crying during Back to the Future, I might cry because I love it so much.
I've cried watching Back to the Future. Don't do this to me.
I guess the dog scene can get pretty heavy.
Gosh.
But, no, it does have strong emotional pull here in Back to Black, and you kind of expect that going into it, because even if you know the very minuscule details, I mean, she passed away at 27. That's enough to know that this movie's probably going to be pretty tragic.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to throw into the good that we haven't already touched on?
Specifically Nan.
Yeah.
Specifically Nan. That entire relationship just felt like a hug.
Yeah.
It just really solidified how much support and love that she had coming from all of her family to pursue her dream. There was never any doubt that she wouldn't get a Grammy. There was never any doubt that she wouldn't be able to make it big. They loved her singing. Yeah. They embraced it because it was so different for the time.
Yeah. No, Nan was great. I thought that was one of the better relationships in the movie as far as, like, developing it, because even in a little amount of screen time, you could feel the impact Nan had on Amy.
And I loved hers and Nan's relationship because Nan would tell her how it is. There was a scene in the movie where I believe it was her manager, Nick, or like maybe her brother, I'm not sure which one, but was telling their dad, like, hey, she needs to go to rehab. How are you not seeing what is happening? And her dad is just like, if Amy doesn't want to go, she doesn't have to go.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how different things would have been if he would have just pushed a little bit harder?
Or if it was Nan there.
Or if it was Nan.
Yeah.
And later on, after, like, right before she decides to go to rehab, she walks back into the bar and she's like, I feel her spirit here.
Yeah.
She'd hate to see what I've become.
Yeah. That scene, too, where she decides to go to rehab is powerful.
Yes.
Because she
dad's just like,
take me to rehab.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And then as soon as she says yes, he's like, let's go. Like, you could tell he wanted whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
But he wanted her in rehab.
Yeah. He just he wanted her to be happy. He didn't want to go against, because it was Amy. We had seen before, if anyone tried to go against anything that she said, she'd just leave. Yeah. She'd punch someone in the face and then she'd just leave.
Yeah.
And her dad just wanted to be a part of her life, wanted to be a part of seeing that's my girl, that's my Amy.
Yeah.
He wanted to see her succeed and live out all of her dreams, but also he was making comments about her losing weight.
Yeah.
He was, Amy, like, he
slid the pipe into his pocket when he found it in the mug.
Yep.
Yeah. Little minor things that made you know, like, okay, he wants better for her, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be
He doesn't want to push her.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I thought all of the family dynamic was really good. But I don't really have anything else for the good that really sticks out. So we can hop over to the meh. And I'll start with, I wish they dug a little deeper. And this kind of can fall in the pacing, too. These are, like, my two major
I wish they would have given us dates.
Yeah,
or, like, X amount of years have passed.
Yeah, this movie's 2 hours and 2 minutes, I believe, is what it landed at. And I feel like it was fast.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of blew over some points. Some points were dragged out a little bit longer. But I think, we learned definitely about Amy in this movie, especially if you go into it not knowing much. But I feel like there could have been more to learn.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of people are griping about too. It just is hitting them harder as a negative than it's hitting me, I think. I definitely think they could have dug deeper. I definitely think there could have been more details and that it could have been paced a little better, but I don't think it killed it for me.
Right. I really enjoyed this watch. I just wish that we could have seen a little bit more of her life outside of being in a relationship with Blake.
Yeah.
To see how she was handling it when he wasn't around. Because in the pacing of the movie, you get fresh Amy, fresh to the scene, falling in love with Blake, head over heels with Blake. Blake's gone. Okay. makes a hit song. Blake's back.
Yeah. And that's what I think it was. I think they rushed things just so they could show where the album came from.
Yeah.
And I wish they just dug a little bit deeper into that. And again, it wasn't enough to kill me.
I would have gone back for a second watch. If they wanted to make a part 1 and a part 2, I would have returned to the theater to watch a second film.
Yeah.
No, not that I'm angry about it, because they did hit a lot of good points. But it is unfortunate that it feels like I was kind of like left wanting more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big thing, like, especially in a 2-hour movie. Usually when a movie hits 2 hours, you're like, okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, like I just like sucked down that large Sprite, and this popcorn is churning in my stomach. I'm ready to stand up and stretch my toes and get to the bathroom. But
no, I was like, like, not unsatisfied. I still liked the movie, but I was like, I definitely feel like I could have gotten more from it. It does enough to make you want to research more. Yeah. And that's exactly how I felt about the Bob Marley biopic we got a few months ago. Was I left Bob Marley and I was like, soundtrack was great. Soundtrack was great here. You learn a little bit, but it does enough to make you want to learn more on your own. So at the end of the day, like, did it completely check the box on teaching you the story of Amy Winehouse? Probably not. But I think it did enough to pique people's interest in wanting to learn more.
And you know what? Good. Yeah. Because when was the last time we heard anything about Amy Winehouse?
Yeah, it's been a while since I think...
When was the last time we heard about, like, the anniversary of her death?
Before the trailer started coming out for this, last time I heard Amy Winehouse, I was probably in high school or middle school, like mid-2010s.
Yeah. And I mean, imagine... I just wish it would be getting better reviews, because I would love to see more, like, people our age and people that are younger than us realizing how much of an icon she was, and that, like, that it is empowering. Yeah. Especially if you are a young person who loves music and is trying to, like, get through and live your dreams.
Yeah. It does seem like the audience and the crowd is liking this one more than the critics. I like to think I'm a person that's in between. Like, I like to look at things from a critic point of view, but I also like the going to the movie for entertainment at the same time. Yes. Like, yes, I get there could be flaws on the technical standpoint, and me wanting to be a critic sees that, but I also see entertainment value very heavily. Yeah. So it weighs more for me, and this had a lot of entertainment value, but it definitely was missing something. But it didn't, like I said, it didn't kill it for me.
Didn't kill it for me either, and I really appreciate it's just like this situation, like, okay, so the masses of people who are paid to review these movies aren't liking it. Yeah. Okay, well, what about the normal people? Yeah. Let's sit down and have a conversation about it and tell me why you don't like it.
There's more good reviews when you look at it that way.
Or, like, do you just not like it because everybody on TikTok is saying that it's shit? Yeah. Be honest with me here.
Exactly. Yeah. But outside of the pacing and digging deeper, the only other meh I have is the mom. We kind of see her at the beginning, and then we don't see her again until the Grammys. And I wish... That's another thing. I guess that could fall in the dig deeper. I wish there was more storyline for the mom, even.
Yeah, because Amy briefly touches in the beginning of the movie when her dad is dropping her off about how, like, mom's not doing good. You need to come in and see her. Okay.
So I thought she passed away.
So and, like,
they just blew over it.
I thought she was terminally ill.
And when she popped up the Grammys, I was like, okay, so she's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish there was more on that.
Or, like, even just, like, the relationship between her mom and dad. Yeah. Like, how did that affect Amy? I feel like as a young woman in London...
And that's what, like, I get it, like, it's not Amy's character and it's Amy's story, but, like, you're telling me that the relationship there had no impact on her.
Obviously it did.
That's something that you could have dug deeper in. Right. That's a prime example, I guess.
Because they kind of touched on it with how, like, pissy she was getting when her dad dropped her off. Yeah. But she went back into her house and sat down on her bed and made a diss track about her dad. Yeah. Because she was mad at him because of what he pulled with her mom. Yeah.
I don't really have anything else in the meh, though. If there's anything you have that you thought was not good, not bad.
Not good, not bad. Blake.
That's fair.
Blake, I feel like, and I don't know if this is just how he was as a person and they are trying to be as authentic to him as possible, but he just is dry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you have that kind of...
He definitely woos at the beginning, and then he loses his touch as she falls for him more.
Mm-hmm. Because, I don't know if it's just because I'm not the one who met Blake, but,
yeah.
like, after the first time of going back to Becky with the pink pumps, I would have been like, dude, I'm Amy fucking Winehouse.
Yeah. And
I'm going to New York.
She made it a point, like, she's not in it for the fame, she's not in it for the money, she wants to just turn something bad into good.
But I have to live my songs.
Yeah. But girl, like, you could do so much better.
You could do nothing and still have done so much better than Blake.
Yeah, I get it. You got Blake's pocket on the chest, but, like...
That is another thing that I thought was really cool, that we actually get to see her in the tattoo shop getting tattooed.
Yes.
That was awesome.
And how it goes from, like, the tattoo shops gradually get nicer, and then boom, she has her own private tattoo artist. Like, just seeing the
crazy
tattoo
to me
art.
that she's just, like, on the bed in her underwear with getting blasted with a mag.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool, too. I forgot to mention that. That was really good. I liked that a lot. I figured you liked that, given the profession you're in. But, no, I liked it a lot. I thought it was cool. It was a cool touch. Cool little, like, it didn't take long.
Because she was tatted. She was, like, the, like, baddest pinup model of the 2000s.
Yeah, for sure. We can move on to the bad.
Okay.
I only have one thing in the bad. I wish they shined on the good more.
Yeah.
This movie, we get a huge spotlight on the bad, the Blake, the deterioration, the drug addiction, which is obviously, like, it was a big part of her life. Like,
it's also a big reason why, as to what led to her death.
Yeah. So I get it. I get why we're shining on the bad so much, and it's also, you know, like a message like, don't do this. But I wish we got more of the good moments. And we got most of them while Nan was alive, so I don't know if that was done intentionally. Like, maybe there wasn't any good moments after she lost Nan. But I feel like, I don't know, it might have balanced the movie out more.
But to still have, all, like, touching on what you just said, the amount of people that were there, her family, her, like, high school friends, these people that she had taken on this journey with her through her entire life were there to celebrate with her at the Grammys. Yeah. Her mom and dad were sitting next to each other celebrating.
Yeah.
There had to have been something.
Yeah.
And I can agree with that. I don't like the fact that it almost romanticized her career as being the best it had ever been, and her doing her best hits when she was battling addiction heavily.
Yeah, it almost villainized her.
Yeah. Like the scene where Blake and her are sitting at the table and they have their burgers and their fries, and then he proposes to her with a ring box full of rock.
Yeah.
And she's like, swoon.
Yeah.
My gob.
Yeah.
My gullet on the floor.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I just...
Because she never, in the beginning of the movie, she's like, I'm never going to be like that.
Yeah.
Like, drugs are for losers, Blake, actually. And then I don't know if it's just because she loved him so much that she wanted to do what he was doing out of fear that because Becky was probably the one that was dealing and doing things with Blake that Amy just refused to do. Mm-hmm. That she almost felt like she had to impress him. To impress him, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wish we got a little more of the good. That's really the only bad I have, though. Like I said, I definitely enjoyed this movie more than it looks like others, but hey, I found the entertainment value in it.
Yeah. The only other thing that I would touch on with the bad is probably how the movie ended. I wish that we could have had, like, a scene of her family dealing with the news of her death.
Yeah.
Because her dad...
The ending's rushed a little bit, and that goes again to the pacing and the math for me.
Yeah.
Dig a little deeper.
Yeah, dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, while I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, she's in her beautiful home, and that stupid news reporter said something about him and his baby.
Yeah.
And then she just goes back in her house, and you see the camera, like, slowly panning up as she's walking up the stairs, and the curtains are billowing. I'm like, oh, this is the end of the movie. This is where they're going to end it.
I don't say this often, but I could have used probably 30 more minutes, honestly.
Honestly,
Mixed in throughout the movie.
I could have sat for another 45.
Yeah.
I was good.
Which usually, I feel like biopics fall in that 2 to 2.5 hour range, but we hit on the 2 part here.
But also, like, to be fair, in these instances, what do you keep out to respect the family?
Yeah, that's true.
And what can you put in it? You know what I mean? Because I didn't hear anything about Amy's family coming forward and being upset with the biopic whatsoever.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I just haven't been looking into it enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that there have been situations where, like, biopics and, like, fan-written autobiographies will be put to a halt because the family is like, no, you can't put that in there. We don't want that information going out there.
Yeah.
We want her to be remembered for the way that her fans remembered her, as being fun, as making music, and being the bitch that rocks.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like you said, I feel like the movie just really, like, showed so much of the bad that if the family would have had any complaints, it would have been that.
Yeah, like shine a little bit on the bright spots of Amy, for sure. I did like how, we go into the ending with the Grammys and the big night, and, like, we see that happiness before...
She's shocked.
Yeah, before the tragic accident, the relapse, but... Yeah, the ending was a little bit rushed. And I think that's... When you're talking about what hurt this movie the most, I think it's just rushing and not digging deep enough. I don't think... there's things that you can nitpick for sure, but for the most part, it's just on the pacing and not digging deeper.
I agree. I would have happily... If it would have meant... Honestly, for how much this movie had been advertised... Like, I'm sitting in my shop room doing tattoos, and I can't count on 2 hands the amount of times that I've heard the Amy Winehouse trailer coming on Spotify.
Yeah. For
how much they advertised this movie, I would have happily invested... If it meant that they would have invested more time and put a little more effort into the details, I would have happily gone back to see a second watch.
Yeah.
I would have sat through a 3-hour-long movie.
Yeah.
Just because it is that good to me.
Yeah.
Like, in the beginning of it, getting to sit down, the acting, the scenery, the settings, the music. I really enjoyed this, but I enjoyed it so much that I'm sad that there's not more. And I feel like that's what's kind of turning me off of it.
Yeah.
That's the only bad thing that I have to say, is that there should have been more.
Yeah.
Amy would have wanted it to be more about her.
Yeah. So we'll hop over to our final thoughts and rating. What do you want to leave off with Back to Black, and what are you giving it out of 10?
It's tragic.
Yeah.
It is really sad. And my heart really goes out to anybody who's battling with addiction.
Yeah.
But also understand that as much as those types of people are vilified in society, there are people out there who will sympathize with you, and you can get help.
Oh, for sure.
And 27 is too young.
Yeah.
Too young. But I feel like it was a really great movie. I'm so happy that I got to go and see it, and I have rediscovered my newfound love for Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. Blasting her on the way home.
Yeah, I was, actually. And it's just... She was jazz.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I got to see so much love come from it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think my final rating... I'll give it a 7.
A 7? Okay. We're in the same wavelength. I'm probably gonna land on a 6.5.
Okay.
But a good 6.5.
Yeah.
There are some pacing issues. You could have given me more for sure. But there is a lot to like with this movie. So the people that are saying, like, it's a 3 or a 4, I'm just like, where? Like, our performance alone.
Stop being a robot.
Our top performer alone warrants the 6.
Yeah.
At least.
That jean skirt alone gets a +4.
Yeah. So I'm going to go 6.5 on this one. And like I said, it's a good 6.5. I did enjoy this movie. There are definitely flaws, but I don't think it's enough to knock it as much as a lot of people are.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are pretending to be fake, like big fans.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you're younger than I am. How much do you really know about Amy Winehouse, dude? Come on.
Like, that's not how she ate a bagel, like stuff like that. Like, but
her eyeliner was all wrong. Did you see her in People's Magazine back in the day? Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, between Abella, the makeup, and the costume, I think those are the three biggest takeaways, definitely in the good for me. And then the soundtrack, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
You get all the hits, along with some of the deep cuts.
So good.
Some Lauryn Hill.
Some Lauryn Hill.
So, you're not going to get complaints from me from the soundtrack at all. That'll do it for Back to Black. Alice, thank you again for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you guys all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of the other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links below. Again, thank you for watching, and we will talk to you all soon. Peace.
Bye.